Matty Juniosa stepped onto the Britain's Got Talent stage and did something few people in the show's history have ever done. He earned not one, but two golden buzzers. His performances left audiences in tears, stunned the judges, and turned him into one of the biggest breakout stars of the season almost overnight. But what happened after the cameras stopped rolling was something nobody saw coming. Behind the standing ovations and viral success was a man carrying years of heartbreak, a painful childhood, brutal rejection, crushing self-doubt, public humiliation, and scars that never fully healed. He thought Britain's Got Talent would finally be the moment that changed everything. Instead, it led him straight into one of the most emotional and difficult battles of his life. And the heartbreaking reality he faced after the competition would force him to confront the very demons he thought he had finally escaped. The grueling journey to the golden stage. Matty Juniosa had been told his whole life that he was not good enough. He tried out for singing competitions and got eliminated. He worked odd jobs while dreaming of the stage. He moved to a foreign country with nothing but a scholarship and a prayer. Then, on one of the biggest talent shows in the world, he finally got his moment. But just when it seemed his dreams were becoming reality, he found himself facing one of the toughest battles of his life. Matty Juniosa was born in Mandaluyong City, Philippines, a bustling urban center within the larger Metro Manila region. His childhood was not easy. His parents underwent a painful separation in 2010 when Matty was just 12 years old. The divorce split the family in ways that went beyond living arrangements. Matty was raised primarily by his single mother, Grace Juniosa, a woman who worked hard to provide for her son but could not protect him from the emotional fallout of his father's absence. The man who was supposed to be his first role model was no longer in the picture, and the void he left behind would shape Matty's understanding of love, rejection, and self-worth for years to come. Growing up as a naturally feminine youth in a highly traditional environment was not easy. The Philippines is a country where family and faith are central to daily life, and deviation from expected norms can be met with harsh judgment. Matty's father, already distant after the separation, struggled to accept his son's identity. The rejection was severe and emotional. Matty later described the pain of being rejected by his own father as something that never fully healed. To survive the social ostracization that followed, he spent years hiding who he really was behind a mask of performative masculinity. He later called those years the most painful period of self-denial in his life. He was not living, he was performing, not on stage, but in his own skin, and the performance was exhausting. Just a quick interruption, 20 seconds. I promise it's worth it. The fog in the morning, the word that was right there. The room you walked into for a reason you can't remember. You've probably been told that's just getting older. It isn't. Researchers identified exactly what causes it, and they've found the specific steps that directly address it. Go to brainresearchreport.com or find it linked in the description below. Go through it. It could genuinely change things for you. Now back to what you were watching. The domestic instability of his childhood added another layer of difficulty. Due to financial volatility, Matty's family moved homes constantly across the Philippines. By the time he reached adulthood, he had relocated to 6 different regions. Each move meant new schools, new friends, new neighbors, and new challenges. Just when he started to feel settled somewhere, his mother would pack their bags and they would leave again. The instability forced him to build walls around his heart. He learned not to get attached to people or places because he never knew when he would have to leave them behind. The coping mechanism served him well as a child, but it made it difficult for him to form lasting connections as an adult. At 20 years old, Matty auditioned for Season 1 of Idol Philippines. The show was the local version of the global Idol franchise, and it was his first real shot at national recognition. He performed challenging tracks like Whitney Houston's I Have Nothing and Tina Turner's Proud Mary, songs that required both technical skill and emotional depth. The judges were impressed. He secured a spot in the top 12, and for a moment, it seemed like his dream was finally coming true. Then came the live round. Matty performed Ryan Cayabyab's Nice Ko, a beloved Filipino classic. The performance was solid, but it was not enough. The necessary public vote and judges' scores did not come through. He was eliminated, and the headlines stung in a particular way. He was the first male contestant to be cut from the competition. The boy who had already been rejected by his father, by his peers, and by his own sense of self had now been rejected by the nation. The elimination was painful, but what came after was worse. Following his sudden exit from Idol Philippines, Filipino netizens targeted Matty with vicious online harassment. The comment sections of news articles and social media posts were filled with cruelty. Anonymous strangers picked apart his appearance, making fun of his clothes, his hair, and his body. They attacked his open identity as a member of the queer community, using slurs and insults that cut deep. They criticized his vocal style, claiming that he did not deserve to be on the show in the first place. The targeted wave of cyberbullying was relentless. It followed him everywhere. He could not escape it because his phone was always with him and the notifications never stopped. The harassment left him with crippling imposter syndrome. He began to believe what the commenters were saying. He believed he was not good enough, that he did not belong on a stage, and that his voice was not special. The severe mental health spirals that followed made it difficult for him to get out of bed, let alone sing. The experience cemented a deep-seated trauma that would follow him for years. He felt like a permanent public singing competition failure, a label that he could not shake no matter how hard he tried. Seeking a professional reset, the ABS-CBN network partnered Matty with two fellow Idol Philippines alumni, Lucas Garcia and Enzo Almario, to form a queer vocal trio called Idols. The group was designed to showcase the talents of queer performers in a mainstream market that had not always been welcoming. They built a strong local fan base, appearing on the popular variety show ASAP and releasing a queer empowerment single called Kapangyarihan, which means power in Tagalog. The song was an anthem for anyone who had ever been told that they were not enough. For a brief moment, it seemed like Matty had finally found his place. Despite their commercial success, the group was abruptly forced to disband in 2022. The reason was Matty himself. He had made the difficult decision to leave the country to pursue a scholarship opportunity in the United Kingdom. The choice carried immense guilt. By leaving, he was killing the steady stream of income that his bandmates relied on. Lucas and Enzo had families to support, bills to pay, and dreams of their own. Matty knew that his departure would hurt them, but he also knew that he could not stay in the Philippines forever. He was suffocating. The memories of the cyberbullying, the rejection, and the self-denial were tied to the streets of Manila. He needed to breathe. So he packed his bags, said goodbye to his bandmates, and boarded a plane to a country where no one knew his name. The move to the United Kingdom was supposed to be a fresh start. Instead, it would bring hardships that Matty had never anticipated. He was about to discover that starting over in a foreign country came with its own kind of pain. The hardship of moving to the UK. In 2022, determined to completely reinvent his career away from the painful memories of Philippine television, Matty packed his bags and migrated to the United Kingdom. He left behind his mother, his friends, and the only country he had ever known. He carried with him a suitcase, a dream, and the weight of every cruel comment that had ever been posted about him online. He successfully auditioned and gained admission into the prestigious Royal Conservatoire of Scotland in Glasgow to pursue a degree in musical theatre. The school was one of the most respected performing arts institutions in the world, with a reputation for producing graduates who went on to grace the stages of London's West End and Broadway. Getting in was an achievement. Staying in would be a battle. While Matty managed to secure a partial tuition scholarship from the conservatoire, the scholarship did not cover his day-to-day living expenses. He arrived in Scotland with virtually zero savings. The money he had managed to save from his work with Idols had been spent on his plane ticket and his first month's rent. He was completely isolated in a country where nobody knew his name, where the accent was different, the weather was colder, and the food was unfamiliar. He had no family to call for help. No friends to crash on their couch, no safety net. He was forced to build his life entirely from scratch, and the foundation was shaky. To afford rent, utility bills, and basic groceries in Glasgow, Matty spent 3 long years working grueling part-time shifts as a restaurant waiter. The job was not glamorous. He carried trays of food, cleaned tables, and smiled at customers who had no idea that the man pouring their coffee had once performed on national television in front of millions of viewers. His daily routine was punishing. He spent his mornings and afternoons in physically demanding, full-time theater training at the university, learning dance choreography, vocal techniques, and acting methods. Then, when his classmates went home to rest, Matty put on his server's apron and reported to the restaurant. He worked late-night shifts, often until the early hours of the morning, serving drinks and clearing plates while his body screamed for sleep. The schedule left him with almost no time for himself. He woke up exhausted, pushed through classes, and then pushed through shifts. He ate meals standing up between tables and rehearsals. He fell asleep on buses and trains, sometimes missing his stop because his body had simply given out. There were nights when he sat alone in his small rented room, staring at the ceiling, wondering if he had made a terrible mistake. He had left behind a country where he was known, if not always loved, for a country where he was invisible. He had left behind his mother, who was growing older, for a degree that might not lead to a job. The doubt crept in during those quiet hours, whispering that he was not good enough. But Matty did not quit. He could not quit. Quitting would mean going back to the Philippines with nothing to show for his sacrifice. Quitting would mean proving the online trolls right. So he kept going. He showed up to class when he was tired. He showed up to his shifts when his feet ached. He studied when his eyes burned. After graduating in 2024, Matty stayed in Scotland. He had grown to love the country in a way that surprised him. The cold, gray skies had become familiar. The accent that had once been hard to understand now sounded like home. He slowly worked his way up the local theater scene, taking on demanding roles that allowed him to showcase his range as a performer. He performed at the Edinburgh Festival Fringe, the largest arts festival in the world, where thousands of performers from dozens of countries gathered to present their work. He starred as Lola in Kinky Boots, a role that requires both powerful vocals and the physical stamina to perform in high heels. He played Clopin in The Hunchback of Notre Dame, the tragic narrator of a story about acceptance and belonging. He also took on the role of Sonia in Oscar at the Crown and Muja in Neja, each part demanding something different from him as an artist. Despite the critical acclaim from local theatergoers who praised his performances in reviews and on social media, these roles provided minimal pay. The reality of the arts industry is that even talented performers often struggle to make a living. The small stipends and box office percentages that Matty received from these productions were not enough to cover his rent. He was forced to keep his part-time waiter job just to survive on the margins. He was still carrying trays, still clearing tables, still smiling at customers who had no idea that the man serving them dinner had just performed to sold-out crowds at the Edinburgh Festival Fringe. The hardship of moving to the United Kingdom was not a short-term struggle. It stretched across years. Matty missed family milestones back home. He missed holidays, birthdays, and the simple comfort of speaking his native language without having to translate his thoughts. He watched his friends from the Conservatoire land roles in major productions while he continued to balance theater with waiting tables. He wondered if he would ever catch a break, if his luck would ever change. Then came the opportunity that would change everything. A talent scout saw him perform at a small venue in Glasgow and mentioned that he should audition for Britain's Got Talent. Matty was hesitant at first. He had been burned by singing competitions before. The memory of Idol Philippines still stung, but something in him said yes. He filled out the application, recorded a video audition, and sent it off. He did not tell anyone. He did not want to jinx it. He just waited. The call came. He was invited to audition in front of the judges. The boy who had once been eliminated from a national competition and forced to wait tables to survive was about to step onto the biggest stage of his life. What happened next would make history. How Matty Juniosa made history. In early 2026, Matty stepped onto the Britain's Got Talent stage with a specific purpose in mind. He looked directly at Simon Cowell, the most feared judge in the talent show world, and told him that he was there to conquer his trauma. He was tired of feeling like a permanent singing competition loser. He was tired of letting past failures define his future. He was ready to show the world what he could do. Then he began to sing. On March 28, 2026, Matty delivered a soul-stirring rendition of Prince's Purple Rain. The song is a classic, but it is also a difficult one to perform because it requires both technical precision and raw emotional vulnerability. Matty had both. His powerhouse vocals filled the auditorium. The emotional depth he brought to the lyrics made audience members wipe away tears. The effortless control he displayed, moving from soft, tender verses to soaring, passionate choruses, demonstrated a level of skill that is rare on talent show stages. When he hit the final note, the entire auditorium rose to its feet. The applause was deafening. Simon Cowell, who is not known for showing emotion, was visibly moved. He did not wait for the other judges to speak. He reached forward and smashed his golden buzzer, sending a shower of gold confetti over the stage. Matty was going straight to the live semifinals. The reaction online was immediate and overwhelming. Fans across the United Kingdom and the Philippines flooded social media with messages of support. News outlets picked up the story, calling Matty the dark horse of the competition. For the first time in his life, the attention he was receiving was positive. The boy who had been bullied into depression was now being celebrated by millions. The live semifinals took place on May 7, 2026. Matty knew that he needed to deliver something even more spectacular than Purple Rain to secure a spot in the grand final. He chose Aerosmith's notoriously difficult rock ballad, Dream On. The song is famous for its demanding vocal range, requiring a singer to hit notes that are out of reach for most performers. Matty did not just hit them, he owned them. Backed by a full gospel choir, his explosive high notes and theatrical stage presence brought the audience to its feet once again. Members of the audience were openly weeping. The judges were speechless. Amanda Holden, who had been watching the performance with her hand over her mouth, was the first to recover. She slammed her golden buzzer, sending another cascade of gold confetti onto the stage. The moment was historic. Matty Juniosa became only the fourth act in Britain's Got Talent franchise history to ever receive 2 golden buzzers. He joined the ranks of Paddy and Nico, the Blackouts, and Ollie Pearson, acts that had achieved the same rare honor. The achievement was a testament not just to his talent, but to his resilience. A boy who had been told his whole life that he was not good enough had just received the highest possible endorsement from 2 of the toughest judges in the business. But the celebration was short-lived. In the agonizing hours leading up to the grand final, a massive technical hurdle emerged that threatened to derail everything Matty had worked for. The official ITV voting app, which viewers use to cast their ballots for their favorite acts, strictly required a UK-registered phone number. That meant that international viewers, including the millions of passionate fans across Southeast Asia and the Philippines who had been supporting Matty since his Idol Philippines days, could not vote. The system effectively locked out Matty's largest foundational voting base at the most critical moment of the competition. The fans who had known him the longest, who had watched him struggle and grow and fight, were powerless to help him when he needed them most. For his grand final performance, Matty made a choice that would divide the public. He selected a highly stripped-back, raw cover of Sinead O'Connor's Nothing Compares to You. The song is a masterpiece of vulnerability, a ballad about loss and longing that requires a singer to lay their emotions bare. There are no high notes to show off, no explosive climaxes to wow the crowd, just a voice and a song. The judges praised the technical solidity of his performance. Vocal coaches who watched the broadcast universally lauded his flawless navigation of the vulnerable passaggio range, the tricky area of a singer's voice where the tone shifts from chest to head. Matty had mastered it, but the choice divided the public. Viewers at home, who had been expecting another show-stopping moment like Purple Rain or Dream On, felt that the song lacked a grand, explosive climax. The momentum that had carried him through the semifinals began to slow. When the final voting percentages were officially released by ITV, the results were crushing. The grand prize went to the Hawkstone Farmers Choir, who captured 28.72% of the public vote. The second-place act, Celestial, received 13.36%. Matty finished in fourth place with 9.16% of the public vote. The margin of defeat was heartbreaking. He missed out on a top 3 podium finish by just 0.12%, behind the third-place act, Anastasia and Salsa, who received 9.28%. A fraction of 1% separated Matty from a spot on the podium. A few thousand votes, the difference between going home with a trophy and going home with nothing. The devastation was immediate. Matty stood on the stage as confetti fell for the other acts. He smiled for the cameras. He congratulated the winners, but the weight of the loss pressed down on him. The boy who had come to conquer his trauma had been dealt another defeat. The question was whether he could survive it. Matty's heartbreaking post-BGT reality. Falling short by just 0.12% reopened the psychological wounds of his 2019 Idol Philippines elimination. The numbers were different, but the feeling was the same. That sickening sensation of being so close and yet not close enough. Friends close to the singer noted that finishing fourth after breaking show records with 2 golden buzzers left Matty temporarily devastated. He had done everything right. He had chosen the perfect songs. He had delivered flawless performances. The judges had adored him. The audience had wept. And still, he had lost. The familiar thoughts crept back in, the ones that had haunted him since childhood. Maybe he was destined to lose big stages. Maybe the universe was telling him something that he refused to hear. Maybe he was not meant to be a star. For several days after the final, Matty went quiet. He did not post on social media. He did not give interviews. He retreated to his small flat in Glasgow and tried to process what had happened. The silence worried his fans, who flooded his pages with messages of support. They told him that he was a winner in their eyes. They told him that the vote did not define his talent. They told him to keep going. He read every message, even if he did not respond. The kindness helped, but it did not erase the pain. On June 1st, 2026, Matty broke his silence on Instagram with a highly emotional wrap-up post. The caption was long and heartfelt. He wrote about his journey from Mandaluyong City to Glasgow to the Britain's Got Talent stage. He wrote about the people who had believed in him and the people who had not. He wrote about the nights he had cried himself to sleep, wondering if he would ever catch a break. Then he made a decision that showed his character. He refused to let bitterness take over. He expressed immense pride in representing both the Philippines and Glasgow on one of the world's biggest stages. He wrote to his fans that he genuinely could not believe that he had just met people he used to think were probably Matrix simulations. He ended the post with a promise. This is just the very beginning. The post went viral. Fans from both countries shared it thousands of times. Media outlets picked it up, praising Matty's grace in defeat. He had not lashed out at the voting system. He had not complained about the app restrictions that had locked out his international fans. He had simply thanked the people who had supported him and promised to keep going. The grace he showed in his lowest moment impressed even his critics. Then came the news that changed everything. Despite losing the £250,000 ITV prize, despite finishing fourth, and despite the heartbreak of coming so close, Matty's Britain's Got Talent performances had caught the attention of British theatre royalty. The producers of Andrew Lloyd Webber's Jesus Christ Superstar had been watching. They had seen his Purple Rain performance. They had seen his Dream On performance. They had seen his stripped-back Nothing Compares to You. And they had decided that they wanted him. Andrew Lloyd Webber's official platform confirmed the news that Matty had been keeping secret for weeks. Matty Juniosa had been officially cast in the high-profile West End production of Jesus Christ Superstar. The show was one of the most famous musicals ever written, with music by Lloyd Webber and lyrics by Tim Rice. It had been performed on stages around the world for more than 5 decades. To be cast in a West End production was a dream that most musical theater graduates could only aspire to. Matty, the boy who had been waiting tables just months earlier, had achieved it. The role he was offered was significant. Matty was locked in to play Annas, the father-in-law of the high priest Caiaphas, a prominent character in the story of the trial of Jesus. The role required strong vocals, commanding stage presence, and the ability to hold his own against the other principal cast members. Matty had all of those qualities. He had proven that on the Britain's Got Talent stage, and he would prove it again at the London Palladium. Matty officially relocated from Glasgow to London to prepare for the production. The move was bittersweet. He had grown to love Scotland, the grey skies, the friendly locals, and the small theatre community that had given him his first chances. But London was where his career was calling him. His professional contract is set to run strictly from June 20th to September 5th, 2026. For 2.5 months, he would perform night after night at the iconic London Palladium, one of the most famous venues in the world. The stage had hosted Judy Garland, Frank Sinatra, and the Beatles. Now it will host Matty Juniosa. The news of his casting spread quickly. Philippine media outlets celebrated him as a national hero. Scottish outlets claimed him as their own. British theatre critics, who had been skeptical of talent show contestants crossing over to legitimate theatre, were cautiously optimistic. Matty's vocal training at the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland gave him credentials that most Britain's Got Talent alumni did not have. He was not just a reality show contestant. He was a trained musical theater performer who had earned his place on that stage. Throughout his rapid rise to international fame, Matty seems to have remained single. He is entirely focused on his West End debut and has not had time for romantic relationships. Old internet rumors have circulated that he married a popular Philippine influencer named Sasa Girl, but those rumors are not true. The wedding photos that circulated online were promotional stills from his June 2022 music video for the pop single Moving On. The video featured Matty and Sasa Girl in wedding attire as part of a storyline about letting go of past relationships. The images were staged, the marriage was fictional, and Matty has no real-life history of marriage or public romantic partners. He has confirmed this multiple times in interviews, but the rumor persists. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click on the next video on your screen. Like and subscribe to our channel for more updates.